Welcome back to TV5 News at 9, everyone. We are excited to talk about a new book that's hitting store shelves. And joining us this morning is the author and also Delta College professor, Jeff Van Zandy. So thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Good, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm excited to learn more about your book, Rules of Order. So just tell us a little bit about what it's about and what people can expect when they read it.
Okay, well, it is a dystopian novel, which has become a more popular genre. The old dystopian was like 1984 by Orwell, but now we're seeing it a lot in like The Hunger Games and Snowpiercer, and of course Handmaid's Tale.
Right.
And so yes, the novel is set in like a possible future. So you have to, for the setting, you have to kind of imagine this wrecked city, and the only habitable space in the city is this high-rise building. So everybody who supposedly still exists lives in this high-rise building, and they have for so long that kind of life goes on as we know it, but within the confines of the building. But the kind of the conflict in the building is the main character and a group of activists are aware that activities taking place in the building are actually threatening the structure. Like the building could ultimately collapse because of negligent activity going on within the building. So the premise is kind of the main character in this group fighting to try to make people aware of what's happening, and then when they're not able to get their message through, they have to take more desperate actions to save the last habitable space on, as far as they know, maybe on the planet, certainly within the city.
Sounds like a wild ride for readers, for sure. An interesting one, too.
I hope so.
I hope so, too. Yeah, I think so. So, of course, you wrote this during the pandemic. Would you say that kind of was a motivator to write the book, or inspiration, or does it have a deeper meaning?
Well, certainly, I mean, it might get at issues of, because it never really gets into what happened in the city. Was it climate disaster? Was it nuclear disaster? Something along those lines. But it does get at themes at like our responsibility for being aware of what's happening in our world and what might threaten our very existence without greed and, kind of rationalizing our actions to have what we want, even if it's putting other people at risk. So it's definitely getting at larger themes, I hope.
Okay.
And I wrote it. My intention, I started it just before the lockdown, with obviously not knowing the lockdown was coming, and I thought, oh, good, I have a summer project. Well, the lockdown happened. Obviously, we all had a lot of time on our hands, and so I wrote it in 5 weeks, the first draft, and then I spent the summer editing. Rather than spending the summer writing the thing. But in 2020, I wrote 2 novels in the space of 8 months. This one so far has been picked up, and the other one's out with other publishers.
Okay.
All right.
Fingers crossed on that second one.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
All
it's enough work promoting. I do have an event coming up this Thursday for the book at the Theodore Roethke Home Museum here in Saginaw, 1805 Gratiot. So I'll be doing a reading from the book and a book signing. It's free, open to the public. It starts at open doors at 6:30. I'll give the reading at 7.
Okay.
So.
Perfect. Yeah. What a great spotlight for you in the community.
The Theodore Roethke home is a real jewel in Saginaw. I know the Friends of Theodore Roethke do a great job trying to get the message out that we, in Saginaw had a Pulitzer Prize winning poet in Roethke. I mean, like, he's nationally known, reputation-wise, and what a lot of people don't know is Roethke, even in his adulthood, often returned to the Roethke home to work on his poems. So some of his most famous poems were written in that house right over on Gratiot. So it's nice to be connected to that literary tradition here, and they've hosted some book signings for me before, so I'm looking forward to Thursday.
Very good. I would love to see the cover of your book, and also just what are you really hoping people get to experience when reading your book?
Well, obviously I hope it's an enjoyable read, but that they also pick up on the message of kind of our personal responsibility to our habitable space. In the case of the main character, Harvey Crow, his habitable space happens to be a high-rise building because it's all that's left.
Yeah.
Our habitable space is our planet, And so I think there are, like any good dystopian really, even though they're set in the future, they kind of hold a mirror up to us and say, like, this is a possible future if we continue on the path that we're continuing on.
Yeah.
So I do think they are, obviously a lot going on in the world, so I think dystopias are more and more relevant because, they have pretty blatant, for lack of a better word, messaging. They're
Yeah.
trying to tell us something. They're throwing out warnings, saying, "Look, it's not just a novel. It's also trying to say we still have the potential to make the world different, better."
And change it, yeah.
Right.
I appreciate it, Jeff. Thank you for coming in, sharing your book with us, and your make sure you check them out. You said it was this Thursday.
Yes, and the book is also, as all books are, on Amazon.
Okay.
And the only caveat on that is if you go to Amazon and type in Rules of Order, you're more likely to find Robert's Rules of Order, which is a book on parliamentarian procedure. So if you were to put in Rules of Order and any part of my last name, Vandy, and then you're more likely to find the book versus finding a parliamentarian procedure book.
We don't want that one, at least not
You
right now.
might, but get them both.
That's right. Well, Jeff, thank you again for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And if you want more information on Jeff's book, just go to the hot links section of our website, WNEM.com.